Hey, my friends, this is a longer podcast. It's not as long as normal, or it's not as long as some of the longer ones, but it's a reasonable size one. But this one is about finding more passion in your life and actually doing it right now. And if you don't think you can imagine it, doing it right now, I've even got inside this episode how to get over that bit too. So you can have more pleasure than you can stand, more passion in your life, and notice how the rest of every other context of your life gets richer by the heartbeat, by having that passion. You got to listen. I'm excited about it. I think you can tell. Hey, welcome to the Personal Development Unplugged podcast. So pleased you're here. Your time is valuable and precious. So what I would like to do is fill that time that you share with me with the most shiny golden nuggets to help improve your life, to get your goals, your wishes, your dreams to come to fruition quicker, bigger, better than you could ever imagine, using your imagination, using hypnosis, using NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, all of that, using all things of the mind. No brain hacks, but real solid processes to deconstruct what people do to become great. And then find the processes that we can install that in ourselves to support you in your dreams and get what you really want in life. Anyway, who am I? I'm Paul Clough, and just going to have conversations with you in this podcast and get you thinking, but also share those processes because we're going to have so much fun. That's it. We're going to have fun for a change because we can sit down for a spell and have more fun than we can stand, creating the world we want to live in and be the person we want to be in that world. The only limitation is your imagination. And you got bucket loads, by the way, bucket loads. Have a listen. You really must.
This is Personal Development Unplugged with Paul Clough.
In simplicity, there is genius.
In simplicity, there is genius.
Hey, my friend, we're back with a longer podcast, which I don't think it'll be that long, but it's long enough to make a difference in your life and a difference to my life. And the title of this, I think, is something like, There's More to the Past. And what the hell does that mean? You see, sometimes, and you tell me if I'm wrong, we let the negative memories or the memories that create negative emotions within us, they create anxiety about fear in the future, that happening again, and we let that create our future. And how stupid is that? Okay, unconsciously, there might be that, well, there's that positive intention to protect you from it happening again, but it hasn't happened yet. So don't do the stuff that you did before because it made you frightened anyway. So you've got to do something different. And you're going to do it anyway, or you're going to do things like that. Or you should have the choice to be able to do it or not because you want to do it or you don't want to do it, not because you're bloody frightened of it. That makes sense. So anxiety and fear do not work. You've got fight and flight. Something happens. That's what you unconsciously, old reptilian brain jumps into action, saves you from whatever you need to be saved from. But you don't need fear and anxiety. You need learnings. And you think, I think we can reverse it to some extent. You can reverse it in total, I guess. You've got to have that belief, I guess, haven't you? Because it's only a process that you've been doing in the past. Or, because I'm going to say you've been doing it in the past, because I guess you have, I know I have, but this is now, and the next new now, which is coming right now, isn't here yet. Well, it is. It's now. But the other now is coming near now. You know what I mean. And I think that's worth expanding upon. Because I want to think in a different way, maybe slightly counterintuitive, but I want to think of things like the passions you had in the past. Because if, and we know it does, negative memories with negative emotions affect your future now and create your now, you're creating your reality. What happens if you access things in the past where you're passionate, and you just, because when you're passionate about things, you tend to be in the flow, don't you? And when you're in the flow, things just happen and it takes no energy at all. And you are so happy. So using the same process, we want to find the passions of the past to find your passion now. Now, I did tell you a little while ago on one of the FMQs a story of myself when I used to be so passionate about DC, Marvel Comics. Don't know if you remember, where I used to be, if you didn't listen to it, I'll just very briefly tell you now, where I used to go to a market, and it was a market in a town called Bedford. Bedford just outside, it's about half an hour, 3/4 an hour's drive from Cambridge, where I lived as a little lad. Mum and Dad would take me there, and I get so excited. Normally, little boys don't want to go shopping, but this day I always look forward to. I could see it in my mind's eye. I knew I could see the market stall because it had all those Marvel DC comics on. And I had my pocket money, a little bit of money in my pocket. I also had some old copies of magazines, those comics, because you could swap them as well. I could see myself doing it even before we got there. And when I saw myself doing it, I could feel the feelings build up even more. So much. And it was like the journey took ages and ages to get there because I wanted it to happen so quickly, but it wouldn't. But that was so good because the excitement just lasted longer. And then we got there, I'd run there, look at the things, find my comics that I wanted, swap, buy, and come away thinking, oh, the drive home is going to be good because I'm not going to look at them on the drive home, but they're going to be on the seat beside me, waiting for me to dive in and lose myself into it. That was a passion. And I got a passion for wanting to draw. I made up my own characters. But the thing is, I was, in the past, derailed from that. People said, you never do it, you never make it. And I took that on board. And we've talked about being a sponge. I took on their beliefs. But the thing is, after that, as I got older, I found new things to do. I went back to sketching. I actually went into airbrush painting. I got pretty good at it. And then I found other stuff. Things that ignited that passion again. And you see, you might think I'm just over a teenager. Just over a teenager, my ass. But I'm of the age, and, well, no, it's not even the age. I'm on the place in my life where I don't want a new career. But does that mean I don't want pleasure in my life? Of course I do. Do I want to get into that flow? Of course I do. Why would I want pleasure and flow? Because I can learn. And when I'm learning things, I'm just so into it. And that's a little bit like that, but I'm learning things about art again. I'm getting more books on it. I'm looking at Pinterest, Instagram, the styles and the skills of people just, instead of going, I wish I could do that. They're so much better than me. No, I'm going to practice. I'm going to do that. It's got me into these podcasts. Sharing what I've got from all that hypnosis NLP that really just took my passion. And hopefully then evolving something inside me that can just share with you in stories, in words, and hopefully encourage you to do something similar. And the thing about this is, it makes me hungry for more. Because I've realized this thing about the things I used to love as a child, love as a teenager, I can find them again now. They don't have to be exactly the same. That's the thing. That's where we tend to forget. Well, I can't do that, but we're going to go into that in a minute. I'm jumping ahead of myself. But the thing is, what about you? What about you? What did you enjoy? Just take a moment. We're going to do it again in a minute, but just take a moment. This is like the primer. You heard my story about those DC Marvel comics and the excitement and the passion and the pleasure I got from them. What did you get pleasure from? What gave you pleasure? You didn't have to do a lot with it, but what gave you pleasure? And why is this important, you see? Why? I can talk about this till the cows come home, but why is it important to you? Why is it important to me? Well, I'll tell you. I'll share you. You see, this is what I believe. When you have passion in your life, it makes your life richer. It really does. Imagine not having passion in your life. Imagine if you haven't got it. No interests. Oh dear. But in the reverse, I don't want that's the negative. And we're not going to take you deep into the negative because you know what it's like. You could just in an instant know that it's not the best. But just imagine what it would be like. Not knowing the passion you're going to find, but just knowing if you had it. You had passion in your life which would make your life richer. How would that impact on your career? If you have a career. If you haven't got a career, how would it impact on creating a career? A new career. When you have that passion, that richness in your life, you are going to be so compelling, so attractive. What about life outside that career? Because some people say, well, I haven't got a career. Fine. But just imagine having passion in your life and how rich your life would be outside. How would it affect your social life? How would it affect your health? How would it affect your relationships with others, close others, yourself? How would it affect your mental health? Everyone talks about bloody mental health all over the place now. So let's go with that. How would it affect your mental health when you have a richness in life because you have passion about things? How would you see the world differently? Crikey, Riley, I could go on for hours just going through these different things to really notice how rich life would be just by having a smidgen of passion. And the thing is, when you have a smidgen of passion, guess what happens? It grows. And when you're doing the things you love, guess what? You start thinking about the things you love and thinking about that feeling. And what you think about most of the time is what you get, whether you like it or not. Well, you love this, so you're going to get more of it. So let's switch that little thing on. But then there's the naysayers. I hope you're not one, but you might have a little bit of this. Well, I can't do what I enjoyed when I was young. I'm too old. For me, I can't make a career out of doing Marvel comics. Why not, Cluffy? Why can't you? If you practiced, you could if you wanted to. What's going to stop you? People do it at any age. Well, the only thing that stops me is because I don't want to. But I can have pleasure doing that stuff, learning about it. Bloody right I can. So here's the thing. If you really think you can't enjoy what you used to do when you were young that gave you passion, first of all, answer me this question. What would happen if you did? What would happen if you could enjoy the types of things that you did when you were young that gave you passion, gave you pleasure, gave you enjoyment, gave you fulfillment, gave you peace, gave you luck, all that stuff? Can you answer that? Now, you see, some people could answer that. But there's one or two of us who find it difficult to answer that. Why do they find it difficult? Because we've got negative beliefs. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this. Who am I to have all this pleasure when maybe my siblings aren't, or there are other people in the world who are poorer than me, or not, all that stuff. Who am I? Well, here's the thing. You can still imagine it, and I'll show you how right now. I want you to imagine, because I do this with people who have got phobias. You see, I ask them to, if you asked a person with a phobia to imagine doing something that they're scared of, they'd absolutely crap themselves. They'd go off on one. And that phobia and that fear, that anxiety would kick in straight away. But I still get them to do it. How'd you do that, Cluffy? That's amazing. I know it's amazing. Sorry, that's me going off on one. What I say to them is, and I'm saying it to you, this will never happen, okay? Get it into your head that what we're going to imagine is purely imagination. It is never, ever, 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 ever going to happen, okay? So now, knowing that it's never going to happen, you can imagine it because it's never going to happen. So we're just going to imagine, what would it be like? And life would be like if you began to enjoy or have the passions and did things similar to the things that gave you passion in the past. Let's do it now. Just set your intention. I'm going to be curiosity, to know what it would be like to have a rich life, filled with passion, pleasure, flow, learning. And even if it's never going to happen, I'm just going to imagine it. Because I can always use imagination and imagineering. So what were the things that I used to experience, to explore? What would I like to explore again? To experience again? Feel that feeling that you had when you were a child and you were doing something that was so lovely, so pleasurable, so engaging, that you were lost in it. And it made your life richer. And just have that feeling. Now, when you get that, I wonder what it would be like if you were so curious to imagine maybe things that you could do right now that would give you that similar passion or give you passion in a similar way. For me, it's still drawing. For me, it's still looking at books. For me, it's learning new ways, things I could have learned years ago, but now I'm doing it. For me, what things could you do for you that would make you hungry for more? To make you smile on the inside. And do it just for the hell of it. The hell of just, hell's the wrong word, by the way, this is an expression I'm sure you know, but just for the hell of feeling good. To make life richer. Because it's only imagination, remember, it's never going to happen. Just feel that if you had no boundaries in that way, what type of things would give you that passion, that feeling, that excitement, that curiosity, that hunger for more? And as you just imagine those things, as if they come randomly to you, no criticism, no comment, just notice them all. You may want to write them down as you're doing it. Make a note. You might even start to think, well, if I had this in my life, how might it impact my career? Because even you say, well, it's nothing to do with my career. If you're living a rich life outside your career, you're going to bring that rich life into your career. You're going to be a different person. You're going to be a richer person. You'll have experiences to talk about. You'll have passions to talk about, but you'll bring passion to your career. What would it do with your social life? What would it do with your relationships? One-to-one relationships, to many, to your mental health, to your health. And when you've got all of that at the conscious level, your unconscious mind can get it at the unconscious level because it's going to do it even more for you. And I want you, the unconscious mind, to go through all those things, all those memories, even more thoroughly, the wonderful memories, and find out those things and compare them what we can do now. Look for opportunities that will give you that wonderful feeling of richness and passion and pleasure that will allow you to share with others too, maybe. Wow, what could you bring to the world when you do that? And I want your unconscious mind to notice it for you. So, thing is, if you close your eyes, you can open them, and if you've got your open eyes, keep them open. But the thing is, now you just imagined it, knowing that it would never happen to allow you to imagine it. But it could happen, couldn't it, now? What would happen if it did? Oh, I can imagine that now, Cluffy. So if you could, what step would you take? Well, no, what's a smaller step? What's a smaller step you could take right now? Write them down. Make a note on your phone. Everyone's got a notepad or something in your phone. Make a recording, a verbal audio recording of a few steps you could think about. So when you get home, you get your puzzle book out. And this puzzle book is a puzzle book of passion. Maybe you get a brand new book called Your Book of Pleasure and Passion. But keep that secret. And then notice. You can start doing it now. Because you can. Because whatever you think you are, you're more than that. And you can keep on being more than that. You can create the life you want. You create your own reality. But first, imagine it. Disney did it. And he imagined the whole Disney World before anybody ever set foot in any of that swampland and all that stuff. And now look at the pleasure that he got and the pleasure that everyone else gets from it. He shared his imagination, his Imagineering. And man, it made a difference. Everyone else who's used a little, all the artists, all the writers, man, anybody who does sport, anybody who does anything has been imagining first. So you can do it too. Hey, go do it. And if you're experiencing a bit of difficulty because you're not quite confident enough, hey, go and get my Supreme Inner Confidence thing. It's got a massive discount. I've told you about it before. It's not a plug for that, but if you are, just do it. And if you've got a 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can do it in 30 days, and if you don't get the results you want, hey, I'll send you your money back. Because I'm all about you getting your inner confidence and you then getting what you want in life to create your reality and then share it with the world. Share it with your partner, share it with your family, share it with the people you work with, share it with the people you know. Be the change you want to see in others. But first of all, be the change you want to see in yourself. Because when you do that, you can do even more. Because whatever you think you are, you're more than that. And what you think about more, that's what you get, whether you like it or not. So when you think about passion, guess what? When you think about passion more and more and more, the more you think about it, the more you're going to get. Because whether you like it or not, you're going to get it. And we like it. Passion, flow, learning, creativity, peace, love, pleasure, all that stuff. I hope I've sold that to you. Because that's what we want in life. More pleasure than we can stand. Please do share this podcast. It's so important. I think this message is so important and it's so easy to do when you just do it. So please share this episode to everyone you know. It would make such a difference to their lives. It really would. And please, one more last thing. Please just don't, having listened to this, think, yeah, I know that. It's obvious, Cluffy. Yeah, I did the little exercise sort of thing that you led me through without telling me it was an exercise. That little process. But I know all of that. Well, if you know all of that, then you would have done it already. And knowing is not doing. So go do what we learned. And you may not do it 100% perfect. I don't want you to do it perfectly. I just want you to do it. And it will grow, it'll get better, and you'll find more passion than you, as I say, you can stand. So go do it. Go fly. Go fly. Thank you so much for your time. Go flap those wings. Ta-da.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.